I do this because I'm passionate about Black women. I do this because Black women raised me. I do this because Black women inspire me. I do this because Black women support me, because Black women are literally what keeps me going. You look amazing. So happy to be here with you today.
Thank you. Likewise. My coconut oil isn't, it's not absorbed yet. It's got me
you popping, you
gooey.
shiny. I like it.
Like I came in here ready to do something. I'm just like, I'm trying to be moisturized.
No, you look amazing. Everyone knows about you. You stay moisturized. Everybody knows that.
If there's one thing, you're never gonna call me ashy. And if
never.
you do, check in with me. Check in with your strong friend.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Are you the strong friend that we need to check in on?
Yeah, some days, but I think, like all Black women, we just kind of ebb and flow from that, right? Some days we're the one that needs the looking in on. Some days we're the ones doing the checking. So
either way, I feel like I think I am, but I also am the very weak friend. So please.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, I got to check in on you more then. I got you.
Weak and strong. It depends on the day.
Yeah, well, that's the myth, right? There is no strong Black woman all the time. Like, that just doesn't exist.
I don't think so. I think that, part of our strength is allowing ourselves to be full and fully ourselves, which is sometimes I ain't got it.
I know. Especially these days, honey. Everybody's leaning on us to fix racism. So, it's a lot.
and we just be like, well,
yeah, really?
We didn't start it. We have somehow risen above it. Still, hitting those bittersweet milestones of being the first Blacks.
Oh, God. I know. It's like, even in that, well, thank you, but it is bittersweet. I'm many a first Black, and it's it's like, okay, yeah, great for me, but you don't get a trophy for being the first. Well, I mean, we could possibly get some, but
please, hi. If you're listening.
In general, you don't. So it's kind of like,
don't.
Yeah.
You usually are charged with laying down a foundation. And I've been talking to a lot of different folks, but a lot of the stuff that brings us back together is the idea that, especially when you're Black, you have to be okay with laying down a foundation and not necessarily reaping your own benefits, but just making sure that somebody behind you is able to get there.
Wow. Hopefully you get to do both.
You could do both.
Yeah, hopefully, but it's hard, right? It's hard. And I think
really
some people in this business feel that pressure and try to do that too soon. And I'm like, no, get yours and then bring people up as you can. Don't wait too long. But, if you're on your first show demanding that everybody be Black on the crew, it's like, slow down. You had 3 lines. You can't be,
It's a delicate balance, but
it's a delicate balance.
It is. We are the show. This is our show. We do have the ability to say.
Yes.
So can you talk about that? Well, actually, let's talk about that first.
Okay. Okay.
What is your ability when it comes to being the woman, the face of the show? Do you have the ability to be like, hi, that Joanne the scammer meme. Hi, everyone that's not Black, please.
So what we're gonna do, all the Caucasians to the back. Immediately. Honestly, thank you. Looks better already.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but I've been here 2 decades. That's what people don't realize is I've been here a long time. The work has been done. The foundation has been laid. So yeah, I've been in that position for a number of shows now, which has been very nice. Larry Wilmore gave me that power at the Nightly Show, and we put together the most diverse writing team in late night to date. And, so it started there, and he was very intentional about it. We didn't read, some late night shows, sketch shows will say, oh, we read blind, which means they read without the person's name attached to the sample or the submission. And we never did that. We read with intention. We read with an eye for the people we were looking for. So, I think that that's silly and outdated. And I think you can hire with intention. And that is exactly what I've been doing on my last few shows and what I valued my whole career, but have now been empowered to do. And I think that is the benefit of those non-award-winning titles. You know, the first Black woman to be head writer in late night, the first Black woman to write for the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the first. And I'm still the only in a lot of those cases. I hired the second Black woman in late night, which was Lauren Ashley Smith, on my late night show and then on my sketch show. But there still hasn't been another, and that's stupid. Because we're out here. And we're great. Sincerely stupid. And
but, you know, we got to Shirley Chisholm this thing and bring our folding chair
right
to the
right
table. And I see that you have no like hesitation in doing that throughout your entire career.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about your folding chair, Shirley Chisholm?
Well, look, I think, you know, my joy was always to be able to provide folks who normally wouldn't get a chance with the opportunities that they were seeking. And look, I cannot do that for everyone. And, you know, I had people come up to me and say, well, I know you want to give everybody a job. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't do that for everyone. But I hope that the work that I do is opening doors so that everybody can pursue their dreams. They don't have to work for me. They should be making their own things. You know, Shonda Rhimes always says this. Yeah, Shonda Rhimes always says, don't try to be me, be your best you. Use me as an example, but don't try to be me or work for me. Work for yourself, do your own thing, you know? And so I want to show networks that Black women are not only amazing and talented and diverse in our own group, but that we're also profitable and that we're also award-winning. And I think that that's what folks like Lena Waithe and Issa Rae and Ava DuVernay, I mean, that's all of our journeys. And that's all we're trying to do right now. That charge is being led by Black women to kick down these doors. Yeah, to kick down these doors. So for me, yes, I hired an all Black women writers room. I will always have all Black women writers on my sketch show. But on other shows, the makeup will be different. But my thing is that it will always be to normalize Black people and people of color and women in rooms where they've been told they traditionally do not belong. And for me, my focus is primarily on Black women because why not? And if I don't do it, who will? But I know that by doing what I am doing, we could easily spin off and do, you know, an Asian lady sketch show, you know, a Latin, you know, a Latina lady sketch show. I don't know if it'd be Latinx or Latina, but if we do it, I'll find out. But you know what I mean? Like, why not? And have those authentic voices running those rooms, not me, because that's not my ministry or my story or my culture. So to put the right voices in charge of telling the right stories is all we're asking. And we're out here. We don't need to be trained. We're professionals. So, you know, I mean, you know what it's like to grind. You know what it's like to grind in a lot of levels of this business. And people will see. Danielle got things cooking all the time, please. All the time. But
listen, sometimes I'm looking at the pot like
it'll be ready. It'll be ready.
It's still cooking. That's what's important. No, that's so real. Thank you for sharing that, because representation is so much bigger than throwing a Black person in something.
That's right. That's like, right. And you know, I was just telling this to a group of showrunners this morning. I said, look, you hired a Black person in your, say, writer's room. Great, good for you. But here's what that Black person is going to do on day one. They're going to show up and look at the makeup, not only of your writer's room, but of your whole staff. And if they are the only one there, then they know you did not sincerely hire them for their attributes or their talent. They know that you hired them to fill a quota. And none of us are asking for that. What we're saying is you need to give us real representation, normalize Black people in your workplace, normalize Black stories being told on television and in film. And I'm judging based on, okay, do you have Black people working in your crew? Do you have Black people working in your hair and makeup department? Do you have Black people working in your grip department? Do you have people of color? Do you have Asian people? Do you have Latinx people? Do you have women? And if your diversity is only me, then we got a problem, because that's not authentic and you're not doing what we're asking you to do. And guess what? It's not going to help anybody, because that Black person then has to represent all Black people and they're inevitably going to slip up, you know. And it's not fair.
It isn't fair, but I'm always curious, because I've even had this conversation with some of my journalist friends, because, you know, we're a little bit of a trend right now when it comes to Black, and these inherent, you know, I don't even want, these non-Black companies and entities want to, you know, dig in the well of Black women, dig in the well of Black people. and we want them to want to do that, right? But in your what you were saying in this idea of tokenism exists because they don't have us and they don't have representation outside of whiteness. Yep. So how do they even get to that point to make it right without?
Well, I always tell them, so a lot of people have come to me recently, other late night shows and kind of scripted stuff across the board. And I've said, I'm going to send you my list. I'm going to send you a list of Black women writers that I'm going to tailor to you based on your needs. And then I'm going to connect you with resources of other Black women who can also share names with you because I'm not the only one. And what I suggest is don't hire one Black writer, hire two. And don't hire one Black hair and makeup person, hire two. You know what I mean? Like, so that way, A, they're not alone. They feel like they're a part of the culture. They can share resources and stories and experiences, and they won't feel like a token. And it's not going to cost them anything different. Like, here's the thing. I don't know why all hair and makeup trailers in Hollywood are not Black women, because they can do anyone, Black, white, or otherwise.
Listen, from any,
I do not understand
any tools that you give us, we will figure it out.
This is what I'm saying. So, you know, so I would say to corporate America, the biggest thing is when you consider hiring high-level Black people, the only thing I'm seeing is you're hiring Black women to run diversity and inclusion programs. That's not what we said. First of all, why do we need to run the diversity and inclusion program? Y'all need to run it. But if we,
Black women help.
Well, but then there's the other side of it, which is like, of course, a Black woman should be running it because she's going to know what they really need. But my thing is, if you do that, let her in the C-suite, give her a real title and a real department where she can hire a diverse set of people who will understand her power and what she's implementing in a corporation. Because I look at these corporations who are just kind of, you know, tokenly hiring a Black woman to hire to lead their inclusion efforts. But yet their employees don't respect any of those efforts. They have to go to like mandatory, you know, diversion classes, diversity classes. I said diversion, but that was kind of a Freudian slip because it is a diversion if you're not going to take it seriously. Yeah, if you're not going to take it seriously. So, you know, I just think the efforts have to be meaningful, real, and backed by money. At every turn, you have to pay women what they're worth, pay Black women what they're worth, and give them real power to implement the things you're asking them to implement. Also, the last thing I'll say, because this is like my huge soapbox, everybody keeps saying to me, yeah, I'm going to implement like a scholarship or a training program. And I'm like, cute, that's good. However, there are plenty of Black people out here who are ready for jobs at every level. So seek out the people who already have the training, who already have the experience. So Why are you trying to train us up? Why do you think that's your bias saying we don't know what we're doing? And we do. So those are my big things.
That's actually a really great point. Let me find out you be knowing.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've been talking to a lot of people because a lot of people think I have something to offer, and that's fine. I'm not going to let people down, but I'm not the only opinion, but I am a loud one.
Hey. And I think that is what you offered is a really good way of thinking for people who are either building or even have the big corporations that can stand to make some experimental decisions.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, who they're hiring, and it's a shame it has to be even thought of in that way. But
I know.
And decisions outside of how they normally would decide and how they normally have been deciding, obviously.
Totally.
Because diversity is still a conversation, which is just so weird to me.
And the fact that they call us diverse, I'm like, don't call me diverse, call me Black.
That's like
diverse isn't a race.
It makes no sense to me.
None.
Everybody is diverse, even inside of our own.
Correct. Call me. People are so scared to say Black. They're so scared to say Black, and it's so wild to me. I'm like, say Black, and now they're saying like by POC or whatever, which is whatever. That's fine because Black people.
Letters.
It's a lot of letters and whatever. I don't care.
But BLACK works. It on my behalf. You know, I'm not going to speak for everyone.
Same. I'm like, it's much easier. But also, the thing is, when they say by POC or POC, my argument is that Black always gets lost. Even with by POC, people have to sit there and do the math of what that means. And I'm like, but are you just saying Black? Because if you're saying by POC is getting killed by the cops, you mean Black. You mean Black. You might mean brown.
What?
But
There's
you don't mean
in this country who are not American and who are Black.
Correct.
But you're sitting here calling them African American.
That too. That
People
too.
are like, well, I'm not actually American. Or even people are, I'm not actually, but I'm like, how is that? How are you bucketing Black into African American as if we're all
You know,
from
correct. And that
America?
absolutely. And the other big thing is that I think that the word Black, like when you watch any like movies or rather if you encounter any racism now, like people are like, well, that Black bastard. And it's like, wait, okay, so the bastard part was offensive, but why is the Black part offensive? Like white people say Black as a slur.
As an
So
insult, yeah.
right. And so I think what's happened is now that they're saying, I want to hire Black people in my job, they have to reconcile with themselves what the negative connotation is for the word Black in their own heart and in their own spirit. And I've literally had white people say to me, can I say the word Black? And I was like, well, what do you, I wish you would.
Like, I wish you would.
Yeah. We have to be careful. But it's true. It's like, well, why don't you think you can say Black? Well, I didn't know if it was offensive. It's a point of pride. What do you mean?
Let's talk about that.
Right, because to them, it is offensive. To them, Black is a bad thing. And I'm like, you're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself if you don't think you can say Black because you think it's a negative word.
That's
Now we're going back to the doll experiment, where the kids picked the dark doll and said, oh, that one's bad.
Yeah.
So it's like what white America has to confront, and globally, but specifically white America has to confront, is that idea that Black is bad. And they have to get over that. Because for us, when we say Black, it's a point of pride. We sit up, our shoulders go back, our hair gets laid, our edges get laid.
The edges automatically laid.
I didn't even have cornrows when we started this conversation, but we kept saying Black and my hair just,
This wasn't even here.
That wasn't even there.
Wow. Black is king. That's
Amen.
Where we are.
The queen said it best.
Please. So everybody, I want to actually go back because everybody that comes on to real quick, I always ask them to tell me who they are outside of just their names. And then one thing that they love most about who they are as a person.
Oh, wow. Who am I outside of my name? I'm a friend. I'm a comedian at heart. Like that is something I have been since I was a baby. I'm a sister. I'm an auntie, both in the I'm too old to be in the club sense, but also in the family sense. I have lots of nieces and nephews. I'm a giver. I'm an introvert.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, I'm
always surprised
textbook introvert. Textbook introvert. I'm exhausted by social interaction. And I am, and I'm, I don't know. I think that's about it. That's probably enough.
Those are good things. But what do you love about yourself, Robin?
I love a lot of things about myself. I love my sense of humor. I think it really is what defines me in a lot of ways. I think I'm weird. I think I'm a nerd. And not in like the cool way. Like I'm a nerd in the way that I really love sci-fi. I really love to read. I would rather read than talk to people most times. I love writing.
Textbook.
I'm really textbook. Yeah, super textbook. So, yeah, but I love that about me. And I love that I've grown into the person that I have. And that I think, what I also love about me? I have friends who I've had since I was single digits years old, who are still dear, dear friends. And I have friends who are, I haven't met a new friend probably in the last 10 years. Like my newest friend is probably a 10-year friend. I love that. I love that most of my friends I have known since I was a teenager at the very least. The people I hang out with day in and day out, outside of quarantine, not during quarantine. We be on FaceTime.
Well, do that.
But I love that. I love that I'm protective. I'm fiercely loyal. And I love those things about myself. I have a really good life. And not just because I have a TV show and all of that. Like I have a good life because I've engineered it and I've been intentional about that.
That is the word, honey. I latch on to intentionality because I think that that's like the stuff of life.
Yeah.
It's what leads us everywhere. And I think that it's so beautiful to hear someone, especially someone celebrated, someone in the spotlight, like know that they have set foundations that ground them, that keep them grounded.
Yeah.
This ain't an easy business.
It's not. And a lot of people, I live in LA, and a lot of people are fake and shallow. And I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not. People are constantly surprised at how normal I am, which I find very weird because I grew up in a trailer park. Like, I grew up with nothing.
Honey, talk about it.
Somebody was online and said, oh, well, she grew up with money. Her dad was a doctor. I was like, oh, what? Where did you get that from? My dad was a teacher until he retired last year. And like, had to work second jobs on the weekends. Like, I don't know where people get that from, but I grew up really with nothing and have built something that I am so proud of, and so proud of because it's helped so many other people as well.
I love that. I love that. I wish people would honestly understand. I think now that we're in this year of reckoning and accountability and stuff is happening, celebrity culture may be looked at differently, hopefully.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm seeing some shifts.
We do pedestal culture, but it's sometimes, the intention behind it is more so because someone is awesome at what they are doing and it needs to be celebrated, rather than creating this godlike person that's supposed to lead us into the promised land. And y'all are like, I'm
Totally. Yeah, but that also, we're not perfect. Like, imagine if everyone was put on that pedestal. I think pedestal culture is so smart. It's such a smart way to talk about it. The stuff that we're dealing with is not normal. And black people and black women in particular are being looked at to save the world. Literally.
I mean, have you ever cared more about a VP nominee? You know what I mean?
Never.
Already there's so much pressure on Senator Kamala, because she earned that.
Amen.
Black woman to ever be.
Amen.
So I say it every time.
Yep.
Senator Kamala Harris has already is already packing the bag to carry that they want her to carry.
It's being packed for her.
Have we ever given assignments to any other VP?
Never.
And we have needed the VP that we got now.
Right.
Because the P kind of sucks.
Listen, don't get me started on politics. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I'm so thrilled that she's there. And I'm actually excited about the ticket now, which was a little hard to get excited about.
I'm just saying. I know.
I cannot discuss. Look, Maya Rudolph is doing a great job. It'll be fun.
No, I know. Like, that's perfect. I feel like they have the same voice.
Well, we can all do a Kamala voice,
But Kamala has a really good voice to be able to do.
Yeah, I happen to have a sketch show, and we'll see.
Saying, it's not like it's not feasible. You're really good at characters.
No comment. I don't want to give too much away, but
no comment. Yes. Well, listen, it was just about this time last year where we heard that you got your season 2. Congratulations.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
It was just about like August, right?
Yes. Yeah, because we got renewed like in our second week or something of airing,
right.
Which, would have been right around now. Yeah.
I was so excited to see that because it was like, first of all, we just can't live in comedy, it feels like. People just be like, oh, you guys are great, but could you just be all the way over there? Or I'll have one of you.
Yeah.
So it's just awesome to see such a wide array of Black womanhood sharing this comedic mainstream space. Yeah. So what does that mean for you now that we are approaching, we're in the Rona, but we're approaching season 2. Do you feel like you're going to be approaching things? Because it's not like you have to have commentary because you're Black and in comedy, but I feel like people do expect that.
Yeah, I think we do it in a subversive way. And here's the thing. We already wrote season 2. We were 5 days from shooting when quarantine shut us down. So y'all would have had it by now. But nobody wants to wear a fucking mask. So you don't have it.
So here we are because of us.
But yeah, so I'm ready to pick up a camera and shoot immediately. But LA can't get it together with their numbers, and so we'll shoot as soon as it's safe. But Do we feel like we have to make commentary? I think we always want to have something to say, and we always want to say, why is this sketch on a Black lady sketch show and not on another show? So if we can't answer that question, we don't do it. And I think that's what's good, and that's what's evergreen about the show. Like, last season could air today and it would still feel relevant.
Right, right.
And so, you know, that's the good thing about the way we write. We don't have to throw out the season we wrote and start over. We can pretty much start shooting right away. So we're excited to do that whenever it's safe. And the commentary will continue in subversive ways. You know, there's even the sketch we did called Get the Belt with Natasha Rothwell and Marseille Martin.
You just brought me back. Gotta come back.
But that sketch hit people in the gut. It was like, you know, we wanted to make a comment on, you know, we wanted to just make a funny sketch, but then we also wanted to make a comment on that feeling that we all had, you know, about getting beat, you know, and like for some of us, that shit was very real. And so, you know, is it everybody's experience? No. But, you know, I think for us, it was about creating a space where we can make subversive commentary on corporal punishment and things like that that matter to Black people in a way that's going to make them feel, that's going to make them laugh and feel triggered at the same time. And not all sketches are that button pushy, but you know, like the Invisible Spy sketch where Ashton Nicole Black plays the world's best CIA spy, but it's because no one notices her. You know, and they just look past her normal face. And that's like something a lot of people can relate to. Right. And then like Dr. Hadassah, like everybody knows her tip, you know, everybody knows one.
Oh, she make me tired.
But you know her, you know, so.
She's so good though.
Yeah. So I think for us, it's just about having those relatable, creative characters that people are going to really feel like seen. And I think that's the commentary. And the commentary is going to leave you, the commentary of just the show in general is telling you that Black women can do anything. I mean, 4 Black women quarantining at the end of the world, 4 Black women surviving the end of the world, living in a house together, eating all the snacks. Hello.
Our life. Like we are really in quarantine out here.
Yeah. So it's like Black women know, first of all, you should have listened.
Black women be knowing.
I mean, honestly, the reason why we had that storyline in the interstitials is because I knew Donald Trump was capable of this. I said that to the writers. I said, he is going to get us killed. What if the women are at the end of the world after an apocalyptic event?
Oh, Jesus.
Was I wrong?
Nah. Because he got a little bit more time to get us all the way there.
Yeah. And thank God there's an election in November.
Ooh,
and
gosh.
I hope and pray that we are allowed to vote in enough numbers that we can get him out, you know, but it's going to be tricky. They're trying everything they can to stop us from voting.
Literal post office shut down.
Did you hear that the Postmaster General was like, okay, never mind. We're not going to make all those changes. We know they upset people. It's like, yeah, you think? And then people were like, well, if you just buy stamps.
Because I live here in New York City and we put our mail in the little mailboxes on the street that you come across. If you're uprooting those,
I'm telling everybody, get your mail-in ballot, order it now, get it now, pick it up from your county registrar office, drop it at your county registrar's office. It's difficult. Like people are just still trying to survive this pandemic. They don't want to be out in the streets. But you know,
deal with going to a registrar.
I know.
That's the third, and that is the.
But it's the least we can do. It's the least we can do to protect our democracy. No, we will not survive another 4 years under this president. We will not.
There's literally no way possible.
No, almost 200,000 people have died of COVID. In large numbers, Black people, which is devastating. I personally know 12 people who have died from COVID. Friends, parents. One of my friends, her aunt and her daughter died the same week. Like, there's no reason this should be happening.
No.
In a country with all this money. And it's just greed and it's racism. So, you know.
Listen, because I know that you are unafraid to.
I know. Sorry, I got on a soapbox about the president.
No, Robin, you got to know I love that because it makes me feel not so like timid around asking real questions and having real conversations with people who experience the things that they're talking about. So I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the idea and the topic of colorism, and namely like light skin privilege, because I want to know how you feel about that as a comedian, as someone in this show business, and how that has manifested in your life, and how that manifests in this industry.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Light skin privilege is absolutely real. You know, we know that from stemming from slavery and before. So we know that has not changed. You know, for me, it's so important that on a Black Lady sketch show that we have so many different types of Black women from every spectrum, not only about where they were raised geographically, but of course the color of their skin and the size of their bodies and the type of their hair, and their age. Even in my writer's room, I had writers who were 20 and writers who were 50. It was important to me because we don't die when we hit 30, you know, and like, we only get better. You know, all the Black women I know that are 30, 40, 50. I mean, look at Miss Angela Bassett. Please, this woman is in her 60s and killing it.
Please,
like,
just touch the hem.
I mean, and so in terms of colorism, you know, it's anybody who denies it is an idiot. And the only thing that I can do from my position is be absolutely intentional about the people. There's a reason that I chose the women I chose to star in this show. I purposely did not pick anyone who looked like me because I'm already on the show and we don't need any more.
You're like, I have all those parts, by the way.
Well, not even that. I mean, look, and the good thing is all the parts on the show are interchangeable. We never
because she's light skinned.
No, we don't play that. We really don't even make a lot of jokes like that. We have one joke that I made at my own expense in the interstitials, but we don't do a lot of those jokes. And because this show is a celebration of Black women, and for me, I wanted to show that in every body type, in every skin color. And it was really important to me. I think about that all the time. I think about the privilege that I have because of that. I think about from white people and Black people alike. And I think it's sad that we still have to think about it. But I also in no way would ever deny my privilege or abuse my privilege to take anything away from anyone else. So I'm very, very intentional about having, you know, my sisters who are darker than me, who are bigger than me, who are older than me, who are younger than me, like all of that in all projects that I do, but specifically in something called the Black Lady Sketch Show. Because come on, like really I'm not going to be the sole. Well, but I'm not going to be the sole representation for a Black Lady Sketch Show. That's crazy. Like that's crazy, you know, and that's not fair. And that's not right. It's just not right. Like I think of, you know, I just think about how many of my friends, my family members, my mother have had to deal with things that maybe I would have been treated differently in that situation by the nature of the amount of melanin I got when I was born. And it's such a stupid way to discriminate. You know, and we know why it's left over from slavery, and that has deep roots in our society. But it's just so stupid to me that in 2020 it's still a thing. But I would never try to pretend that it wasn't. And so I think about that in a lot of my work. I really, really do, because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they were left out or not seen, especially when I'm sitting here saying my work is celebrating Black women.
Mm-hmm. And it's obvious, it's apparent, and I do love that you intend and do use the platform to make sure that the fullness of Black woman is lifted up, and not just because they reflect what you look like. And there is a bigger responsibility when you are a light-skinned woman in this industry, because people are already looking at you like, what's she about to do?
Oh, please. Well, that's the whole other side of it, right? Like there's light skin privilege, and then there's like light skin, like, I don't know. Her nose is a little not quite white enough. Like, I don't know. She look a little white to me, you know, and that's cool. Look, the funny thing is I've spent the bulk of my career working for and because of Black people. So I don't think anybody doubts my intentions, but also, like, I get having to prove that, and that's fine, because I don't do this for anybody else. I do this because it's my passion. I do this because I'm passionate about Black women. I do this because Black women raised me. I do this because Black women inspire me. I do this because Black women support me, because Black women are literally what keeps me going, you know? So that's just, it's true. And I don't feel any sort of ways about having to prove that to anybody. And the great thing is, like, in our community, like, we have people, we embrace certain light-skinned people, and then other light-skinned people we just don't even mess with, which I think is very funny. Like, none of us are messing with Stacey Dash. Like, nobody's messing with her.
No,
But she did that to herself.
She was
She
doing
did that to herself.
some Fox News stuff.
Yeah, no, she's a mess. She's a mess. And I used to talk about her real bad on all my late night shows, and I'll talk about her bad to her face. Like, she, you know, but I get it, because again, this is so deeply rooted. Like, slavery didn't end that long ago. Like, it wasn't like the dinosaur era. Like, it literally, like, my parents had grandparents who were slaves. That is wild to me. That is generational trauma. And whatever we need to do to make that right currently as adults and as people creating in the entertainment industry, then we need to do all of that.
Please don't make them have to blackface you.
Ma'am.
They're going to be like, Robin Thede as Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh!
Robin,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
It would be such a dope role, but no.
No. It would not, because there are plenty
of
brown skin sisters who can do that. You do not need me. I'm good. You do not need me to do that.
Paint you black,
we ain't painting nobody black up in here, and I refuse, because there are way too many talented black women who can play all those roles. And I'm glad that Zoe Saldana came out and said she's sorry about playing Nina Simone. Yeah. I'm glad, because she needed to apologize, and all the people need to apologize.
She needed to understand why people, because it was more so, it was bigger than some awesome role that you get a chance to fully embody.
It doesn't matter. It's not yours.
Simone's foundation is built on being black.
Correct.
Black with the hard K that
correct.
She produces.
Correct.
Like, it's and so her aesthetic is very tied into who she is.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody was like, it just shouldn't be.
There's just no reason. And I get it. People want to act and people want these great roles, but
and we need a name, but like we got dark skin names.
Do better. Do better.
We got real brown girl names.
Do better.
That would have given you just as much tickets sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was because that was also, if I remember correctly, that was also one of the reasons that she was chosen, because she could secure a certain amount of like viewership around the movie.
Yeah. But guess what?
So could a lot of people, guys.
And that movie did terribly. So great job on that.
You did what you came to do.
And look, I'm not even shitting on her, because there were other black people involved in that process who should have said something. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of actors just take a role because they think they're going to win an Oscar. Like, I'm not even really shitting on her, because she did the right thing and came out and apologized. But, you know, we just have to do better. And I think we are doing better. I think we are doing better. And I think that there are people like Zendaya and Storm Reed and, you know, and Tracy Ellis Ross, who are saying, like, I would never take that role from anyone. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to uplift other black women who are ripe for those things. And I've seen them do it, you know, and it's important. It's important because we have to show people why it's not okay to think that all the black women across the spectrum of skin color are suited for a certain role. Because and you know, when colorism will go away and when we can Hamilton all these situations for casting is when darker skinned black people stop being treated differently. But until that happens, then colorism is a thing that we have to acknowledge and we have to work to break down. There's no reason that if you and I walk into a restaurant that we would get treated differently. But if that happened to us, would we really be shocked? You know what I mean? Like we've all seen it. We've all seen it, and it's not okay. And we have to work to demand that the people who are supposed to be in these roles, because I know it's just TV and film, but at the end of the day, it's like, at the end of the day, that representation is so important because there's only so many roles. So it's why I really, really, really work hard. And in every interview, I talk about how phenomenal my cast is. And I know that I do a lot of the press for my show, but at the end of the day, I created it and it's my brand. But I really just want people to know how phenomenal they are. And anyone who's seen the show has seen it. And I want them to all become massive, like award-winning. So, I mean, look, Ashley Nicole Black already has an Emmy. but I want them
I
to
was gonna say,
continue.
she did her thing.
Yeah. So I just want them all to continue to grow and benefit from this thing that was my dream, but has become a collective dream of all of us.
Which is just the dream. Being able to help facilitate the dreams of others is something that I'm really like, yes, God.
You're
I
already
love
doing
people
that.
to do that.
You're doing that by your example, though. The brand that you've built is so strong, and you are going to monetize that in countless ways. But the way that you speak to people, when I see you in person, I feel like I'm running up to my cousin. Like you're running up to me, I'm running up to you. We're meeting like we're on the beach, long lost lovers. Like it's all love, and that's real. You are the same person on this IG. You are the same person on a red carpet. You are the same person at a house party. You are the same person wherever you are, and that opens doors because people see that authentic talent and they want it, but then they also see it as possible. So many girls are looking up to you like, oh my God, I can do it. Danielle is doing it. So please keep going. Not that you're going to stop, but I just want to encourage you and tell you how much it means. And I know that you have so many talents, from hosting and interviewing to writing and performing, all that stuff. So your well is endless, and the best way to pay people back is to do it at a high level and to show people that there are no boundaries anymore.
Oh, girl, you see me. Robin, that's exactly what I want. I want people to understand the possibilities and to think with possibility.
Yep.
Oh man, I love that. Thank you. That just made my day. Like, you
It's
always
true.
want people to understand like who you are, and that just.
Oh, I see you. It's like, I'm not sitting here gassing you up. I'm just saying facts. I'm saying facts.
And I'm so grateful because it means so much, because it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I thank you for seeing that. And, for y'all too, thank you.
Girl, people love you. Just deal with it. Deal with it.
I'm a thug. I'm a hold it in. But when this is over, I'm going to cry.
You don't have to be strong all the time. Remember that. You don't have to be strong all the time.
That word. I'm going to let you get out of here, but I would like to know, before you go, Robin Thede, what is a lesson that you have kept revisiting throughout your career that constantly gives you that motivation and that push to like do what you need to do?
Ooh. I've learned a lot of lessons. I don't know if they always give me a push. Two lessons. Well, because I'll share two lessons that I think are really important, and they apply across any industry. One is take the note. So if you're not in charge and someone gives you a note, just take it and apply it. Don't think that you know best all the time. It's the way you'll learn. Even if it's a bad note, take the note. The other thing I've learned that Larry Wilmore taught me years ago is that when you're in charge, you will think your job is to make everyone happy, but it's not. Your job is to provide an environment where they can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not the same as making people happy. And some people are inherently unhappy people and bitter people. And no matter what you give them, it's never enough. So I say that to say that at every level,
really facts.
But it's true. And every level of my career, I have lost someone or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that, because I try so hard to bring everyone with me, but at a certain point, it's heavy to carry everyone on your back. And so I'm just trying to provide the opportunities for them to soar. But I had to relieve myself of the responsibility for everyone else's happiness. So I think that is a big one. I don't know that it propels me forward, but it helps me when I experience loss. The weird thing is, when the Emmy nominations came out, some people were very angry with me. Only a few, but some people were very angry.
And you're meaning people that are in your life as like your people, or just in the industry?
Somewhere in between.
Okay.
But I realized that your success can hurt people when you don't even intend to. And it has nothing to do with you. This is some real shit, because this is only something you'll experience when you level up. And so what you have to weigh is the larger work that you're doing and the impact that it's having, and how you treat people along the way. Now, these are not people I've treated poorly.
Right.
These are just people. Sometimes it's hard for people to see you do well. And sometimes they feel like you owe them a piece of that. And I understand that. I actually really, really understand it, because I felt it from the other side. And so I do my best to make peace with people. And I think I have. But it is interesting, because it does get lonelier the further and further up you go, which is why I love about myself that I've kept so many of my friends from a young age, and that they've been my rocks and I've been theirs. And we treat each other the same. It doesn't matter if I'm Emmy nominated or whatever. If my girlfriend's having a problem, I'm there, and same for her. So I think, you have to carry your network with you, carry your people with you. By network, your family, your chosen family with you, as well as your actual family, if you can. Some of them aren't, some people, everybody's family situation is different, but your chosen family, I think you have to keep them close, and you have to realize that some things are going to happen that are unfortunate, but so much stuff is going to happen that's good, that it's about appreciating the good and also appreciating the bad for the things that they'll teach you. So I think that's kind of a convoluted, long, loping answer, but it's the things that I've been grappling with in the past few weeks, and the things that, as I continue to do bigger and better things, I know that if I hire somebody on one thing and don't hire them on the next, they may feel some kind of way, even though it's not personal.
Right.
And that's wild to me. I never thought about that before. So now I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about, how do you still make people feel good with the work that you're doing, even if they're not directly involved? And I think that's just by being a good example. And I think it's by keeping the doors open for them to do their own good. So, yeah.
Right.
So.
And that has nothing, because that could easily be interpreted as like a people pleasing. Like, just because I didn't hire you for this thing, or however that relationship is, I don't have to people please you in between that and the next time I need to hire someone.
But it's hard, because people see themselves in your work if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And so many people see themselves in my work, and that's such an honor. And
it's
so
a responsibility.
It is. And I get it when they feel like, well, you didn't call me. And I'm like, wow, you're right. You're right.
You know, so
even
right.
even though I don't have 100 positions on my show for writers or performers or whatever, I understand how even people who don't know me feel like, wow, why didn't I get called for a Black Lady sketch show? And it's so wild, right? But I get it. I get it. And it's heavy. So what I hope, and the reason why I named it a Black Lady sketch show and not the Black Lady sketch show, is so that it could be one of many. So I hope that these networks see these Emmy nominations and greenlight 16 Black Lady sketch shows, and I hope that they all do well. And I hope that they get Black showrunners. And I hope that they just had to take a pause on that one. Because the problem is, so many friends that I know who have sold shows that never saw the light of day, they get paired with like white showrunners who don't know anything about Black culture. And so
that's
anyway,
a lot of power. That position it holds a lot of how the show happens and what happens in it.
And people don't know that I'm the showrunner also. Like, I actually do all the hiring, firing. I work with the budget. Like, I'm not just the creator and somebody who acts on the show. I am the creator, the EP, the showrunner, the writer, the star. Like, I do all of it. So I get to hire everyone on that show. And that's what Ava DuVernay does. And that's what Issa does. And that's what Lena does. And it's really important. It's really important that we take on even more responsibility than most people. No one has ever run their own show and also written and starred in it. No one has ever done that.
I'm like, what?
Black, white, or otherwise, no one's ever done that, to my knowledge. Sketch show. So, it's rare what I'm doing, but I'm doing it because, just like we started in the beginning of this conversation talking about, I wanted the power to say, I am bringing these people on with me, and no one can tell me no. I know what my budget is. I may not have the biggest budget in the world, but I'm going to say, y'all come with me and we're going to make this thing together. And even though I can't hire everyone, I hope that my work leaves a wide open door. A new house, right? Don't get a seat at the table, build the whole house. A new house where everybody's welcome. And I got more things coming. So more things to come, more exciting announcements coming. I cannot wait to share with you. That has nothing to do with the sketch show. More things coming that, in addition to this amazing sketch show, that are going to continue to keep those doors open and get more people into the fold. So I'm really excited, and I thank you so much for having me today. I love talking to you.
Likewise, Robin Thede, girl. You are a history-making queen, and I just love what you represent and how you do what you do. Because you ain't got to include us.
Yes, I do.
You do.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Y'all ain't gonna have me out here like that. Can you imagine? I'm not out here trying to do a white lady sketch show. Like, that would be insane.
Which I know you hear all the time. Well, what about?
I was like, y'all got that. You have that.
We've done that. But also go ahead and do it. It's fine.
Go do it. Look, I'm not stopping you. I can't green light every show. Go do it.
Go do it. Well, I'm excited to see what you got planned. I can just see. Look.
I can't wait. It'll come out soon.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin, we're going to be in touch because we got work to do out here in these industry streets.
Yes, we do.
Keep it cute.
I'm going to talk to you soon. Yeah, oh, please. Always. Always.
Love you, Robin.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.